Joe Rogan has spoken. Joe Rogan had Dave Portnoy, that's the owner of Barstool Sports, on his podcast 20 hours ago, in fact. And during the podcast, they give their thoughts on the whole Andrew Tate arrest. And I thought it would be decent to sit here, react to it, break it down, and see what BS they come out with.
What really happened? And why is Romania going after him? Are they being pressured by someone else to do this? Like, what is the reason why they're doing it? And what do they have on him? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that to me is the right answer. Nobody knows. A lot of people are acting like they know. If you go read it,
well, they want him,
which is crazy.
They want him to go down, and they want him. He represents something. He represents toxic masculinity.
He is. He is sort of toxic. I mean, he says crazy stuff.
They seize his car collection as investigation continues.
The one thing I don't get about this, well, I do get, I understand. People are actually want the charges to be true, which is crazy because that would mean a lot of bad shit to happen to a lot of bad people.
Yeah, I would rather the charges be incorrect.
I was arguing with people on Facebook the other day about this situation, and they were so passionate about how Andrew Tate is a rapist and a sex trafficker. It's like they wanted the charges to be true, and I think there's a lot of people out there who would really hope those charges were true. So Andrew Tate can go down, and they can use him as an example, as opposed to them being untrue and it all being a big lie, and Andrew Tate still being allowed to be on all social media platforms and create content. People would prefer it if Andrew Tate did commit all these heinous crimes, which, let's face it, it's probably bull crap. Got to be careful with the swearing now on YouTube because they've brought out a new policy. Not allowed to swear, guys, okay?
Romania, I don't know what their system is like. I don't know whether they're corrupt. I've heard things, but I don't have any real information. So I'd be talking on my ass to say, if he really did sex traffic people, if he really did all the things he's saying, well, I hope that gets proven in court, and I hope he gets punished if he really did that. If he didn't do that, I hope he gets exonerated, and I hope he gets the fuck out of Romania. I don't know. I don't know what he did. I know a lot of what he does is theater.
The crime rate in Romania is actually really low, but a lot of it is organised crime, so it's crime at the top as opposed to all the measly crime at the bottom. For example, England, London, a place where you'll get stabbed just for looking at someone funny. That's probably not going to happen in Romania. Romania is not filled with all these low-level crimes where it's robbing, stealing, stabbing, drugs. A lot of it is corruption, high-level politics stuff. Tate said it himself. Romania is corrupt, but everyone can have access to the corruption, whereas, let's say, in America or England, only the rich people have access to the corruption. So in Romania, it's easier to bribe police officers if you've been speeding or something. I mean, if it was possible to give police officers, say, 50 quid or 100 quid, and everyone could do it right there on the spot, as opposed to getting 3 points on your license, then I'd be happy with that.
I know a lot of what he does is theater, right? A lot of what he does is very like satire. He plays the role of this boastful misogynist who smokes cigars and drives Lamborghinis, and that's his thing. And because of that, he's amassed an amazing amount of money. And he's done it by doing this character, this online persona, but then also says very wise things.
That's the thing as well. People don't understand. Andrew Tate is very smart. I'm not up his ass. He says a lot of outlandish stuff that hooks you in. He'll say stuff that's very polarizing. I do this as well. It only takes you to look at my TikTok content, even my YouTube short content, my Instagram content. I say very polarizing things. Does it mean that I'm a misogynist or I'm fat shaming or that I'm sexist? No, of course not. It's just that I use that to hook you in so then I can actually give you my message. There was an analogy that I learned in business, and this mentor that I had was talking about how you need to give people what they want first in order to be able to then give them what they need. For example, when people come and train with me, they all need to get fit, they need to keep it up consistently, they need to eat vegetables and fruits, but they don't want that stuff. So if I say to them, come and train with me where you can eat pizza and only train for 30 minutes a day, that is so much more enticing and desirable. So people are going to come through the door. I'm going to be able to hook them in with selling them on what they want. But then once they're in, then finally I can teach them about healthy eating, being sustainable, taking a flexible approach. Yeah, having a little bit of pizza, but then making sure that it's not the majority of your diet, just here and there, being flexible with it. But if I don't try and hook them in some sort of enticing, desirable way, this marketing strategy, it's been around forever. One final example, when a dog is sick, you need to give it pills, but the dog doesn't want to eat the pills. It's not going to just eat the pill by itself, is it? But that's what it needs. First, you've got to wrap it in ham, and then it'll take the pill. So you've got to give it what it wants in order to, as a byproduct, give it what it needs. Now, this is what Tate does. He hooks you in with the message, and then after he's hooked you in, then gives you the actual real stuff, the actual helpful stuff that's going to help you level up as a man, get in better shape, earn more money, hold yourself more accountable, be responsible, protect your family. This is the real message of Tate. Ultimately, he's playing an exaggerated version of himself. I do exactly the same.
But also says really interesting things. He's a very smart guy. If you listen to him being interviewed by Patrick Bet-David. Patrick Bet-David interviewed him after he got canceled off of all social media, and Patrick is fantastic. He's really good at letting people talk and talking to everybody. And Patrick is so wealthy and so successful outside of the world of podcasting that he only does it because he's interested in it. And so he's the perfect guy to handle that because he is not afraid of to talk to anybody. He'll talk to anybody. And so he had him on for a long-form conversation. They talk for hours, and you get to see this is a very intelligent and calculated guy. You might not agree with his message. You might not agree with all the misogynist stuff. You might not agree with, and I don't agree with it.
What misogynist stuff? There is no real misogynist stuff. A lot of it is stuff taken out of context or satire and joking. Why are comedians allowed to say some of the stuff they say? I think it was even Andrew Schultz. He said that everyone at some point, if you want to be famous and you're going to be in the public eye, should do a stand-up show, because then that way it gives them the ability to say whatever they want, because they can say, hey, it's just for comedy. You do one stand-up gig and say a bunch of jokes on stage in front of people. You can now get away with so much more because you can be a comedian. A lot of the stuff I say is just joking, but what people want to do is they want to remove the context of it being a joke, of it being satire, and take it literally and get offended by it. That's a big problem in the world right now, because Andrew Tate does a lot of comedy and a lot of satire.
You might not agree with all the crazy antics, but you cannot deny that that's been incredibly successful because it resonates with a lot of young men who don't feel represented in the media. And they see this guy and it looks like fun. Do they agree with what he's saying? That doesn't mean they agree with it. They think it's fun. It's like pro wrestling. He's like a bad guy in pro wrestling. He's a heel. He's smoking cigars with his Lamborghinis. And
see, that's where I go. I think there's probably a lot of people think that, and then I think there's probably other people who take it seriously, which is where it's a super...
Yes, that is where it gets fucked up.
Dave Portnoy also lost a lot of respect after that first interview with Andrew Tate. Here it is right here. If you go and watch this one, Andrew Tate and Dave Portnoy go toe-to-toe. If you go and watch this, Andrew Tate brings up a lot of good points. It's also the podcast where he talks about, are women a man's property? And it's them who bring it up. You think a woman is a man's property, and then he talks about in the biblical sense, the woman is typically given over to the man, and the woman typically, in like a metaphorical manner, belongs to the man. Women know this as well. Men say all the time to girls, you're my girl. Girls want to be a man's girl. That's what they want. They love it. And especially if they're in a happy relationship. The women on this podcast were saying, never let a man talk to me like that. Yeah, but they're probably single or in crappy relationships with men they don't respect. The moment that a woman gets with a man who she respects the man, she's got no problem actually saying, I'm your girl. It's that. It's just language. It's semantics that people are arguing over. It's like, you belong to me. I'm not your property. You're not my property. People are arguing over that crap when, of course, the woman belongs to the man. She is his property. Not in a property, thing, object sense, but in the manner of she belongs to the man. The man's job is to look after the woman. Flipping it. It's just all semantics, but go and watch that interview. I'll link it down below. It's incredible.
Where it gets fucked up is like young boys repeating the shit that he's saying to young girls because
he said
think that they're supposed to do that.
Property, and he owns them, which is nuts.
Also, I heard as well, the kids in schools have been saying to teachers, what colour's your Bugatti, miss? And they're saying that that's toxic masculinity. It's absolute ridiculous.
The one thing I will say, for an intelligent guy, which I agree with you he is, to be doing the things he's being accused of doing and then go seek publicity is a very unwise move.
If he did the things
Correct.
that he did.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I've been saying. He's tall, loads of money, he's got all the cars he ever needs, rich, he's successful, charismatic, he's good looking, looks good, in decent shape, gets all the girls he wants. Why, if he was doing all these crimes, all these heinous crimes and raping and sex trafficking, why put himself out there? Why would he put himself out there in the limelight? If anything, you'd try and go under the radar a little bit more. When he was first cancelled and then first accused of this sex trafficking drama, he then went out there even more and was like, nah, screw this. I'm going to go against the Matrix and I'm going to prove me innocence. Here's videos of girls, women who I've dated, vouching for me. Sometimes no amount of evidence will convince people. Let's say he comes out and he's completely exonerated of all allegations, of all charges. The people who accused him of it come out and said, listen, I was just lying. I wanted a little bit of money. Someone paid me off to say it. It's all false. There will still be people out there who believe the narrative that he was a sex trafficker. People hate changing the minds. That's why magicians will say, when you pick a card, you'll pick any card, they'll take a card and you say, do you want to change your mind? And the majority of people say no, because they want to stick with the decision. If I was guilty of a crime, the last thing I would want to be doing is going on the biggest podcasts, saying even more outlandish stuff and bringing even more attention to me. How do people not get that?
You would think if you're committing atrocities, you would try to stay under the radar. He does quite the opposite.
Yeah, but again, we don't know.
No, nobody knows.
That's the problem. That's
some like the pizza thing, the pizza box. I don't know if you saw that. Everybody saying he got busted because of the pizza box, and then the authorities like that had nothing to do with it.
No, they knew he was in Romania. It was just, what's that word? Schadenfreude? Schadenfreude. That's been what it was. Like, he's making fun of Greta Thunberg, and then he gets fucking arrested right afterwards.
Yeah, so people initially thought that it was a pizza box that got him busted because it was a local Romanian pizzeria, but it wasn't. It was just because he had to use his passport to get back into the country. The authorities would have been onto him well before that pizza box.
The way it happens, like people said, it's the biggest like
self-owned third biggest tweet or retweet. It was Greta. I mean, it was okay.
It's kind of funny when she said that's what happens when you don't recycle your pizza boxes.
That was good. That was good.
Chad, that shit's hilarious. You got to give it to her.
I'm glad that Dave Portnoy also agrees that the joke that Greta Thunberg put up was crap. There was nothing to it. Everyone were making it out like as if she owns him and it was the biggest own of the year. It really wasn't. Just people don't like Andrew Tate that much, so they made it out like the joke was so great. Oh, small dick energy at getalife.com. It's crap.
Look, and also, like, why are you going after some 19-year-old autistic girl who's really into like climate change?
Like, figure out whether that was provoked. Like, he just did that out of the blue?
Yeah, he's just talking shit.
That's something that Tate has always done, by the way. He's been on Twitter for years. I followed him years and years ago, and he just used to go at people just for the sake of it. He's a troll, and that's what people don't realise. He's a troll. He says outlandish stuff. He's polarising. And why? Because it gets attention, and we live in the attention economy. It's the whole point.
That move from somebody who's being accused of sex trafficking, I think rape was thrown in there, and then you're out there being like, look at me, crazy. Again, but what you said nailed it. Nobody knows.
I think the latest thing that they're saying is tax evasion, right? Isn't that what
it?
they're saying?
I'll be honest with you. I'm Googling them now. I just found an exclusive story on Vice.
First off, Vice, not exactly a reputable source.
The reason he was kicked off of Big Brother is not the reason that was publicly known or what was thought of. It says that he was arrested for suspicion of rape in 2015.
He was investigated over allegations of sexual assault and physical abuse in the UK, during which time he appeared on Big Brother for 5 days.
It's just...
I'll pause that, move it over. That's the article they're looking at right there. Exclusive. Andrew Tate was arrested on suspicion of grape in the UK in 2015. This is an old article. When he went on Big Brother, videos surfaced of him whipping his girlfriend with a belt, and that's why he got kicked off Big Brother. But she's came out and said, listen, no, we were just into some kinky stuff. It was completely consensual. I think she's done 3 videos on that specific situation now. People like to think that they know the intricacies of someone's lives because they see in one short, out of context video.
UK authorities declined to prosecute. The girl came out and said that that was very consensual and that they were doing role play and that they liked to do this thing where he would like beat her up or something.
Exactly.
That didn't have anything to do with why he's kicked off the show.
This is one of the perfect...
I don't know.
This is one of the perfect examples, though, of kind of what we're talking about. I don't fucking believe Vice.
I don't know. But
I don't believe... how can you believe anything that is said about somebody so controversial? Because everybody seemingly has already made up their mind. Right. So where to get real information on him? Who knows?
All the objectionable stuff, I think, also was unnecessary. I think if he I don't know him. If I did know him, I would tell him all the boastful shit and the shit about him being, the top G and all that stuff. All that shit's great. But the misogynistic stuff, like if you have daughters or if you have a wife or if you have sisters, stuff like that, you don't want that. Well, you don't that narrative, like putting that out there, that's negative to everybody. It's not even positive to him. It's like it's not necessary.
What's interesting though is that every woman who comes into contact with him say that he's not a misogynist. This whole narrative that he's misogynist, you can throw it out the window. There's literally fit girls, decent looking girls, attractive, who've all vouched for him. Birds have came out on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, and are backing him up. Even exes. How many exes have you got that will vouch for you and turn down 50 grand to make up a fake story about you? His exes have got journalists contacting them saying, we'll give you 50 grand if you've got any negative stories about Andrew Tate. And the ex-girlfriends are saying, no. That's insane loyalty. And I've got like quite a few exes, and I bet some of them will sell me out. Like it was that long ago. These bitches don't care. They'd be like, F him. So the whole misogynist thing, when the girls who he knows and girls who he meets all come out and and vouch for him and say, do you know what? He was lovely. He was nice, super nice to me. He got me a taxi home. He looked after me. He bought me drinks all night. When you've got these girls who were in his presence saying that he's not a misogynist, how are you going to go against that? The only people who are saying he's a misogynist are the people who don't know him and men. And usually it's not even nice girls as well. Usually they're either college students, like proper lefties with blue hair, or like girls who are 19 who have never even seen the world and don't know friggin' their ass from the elbow.
But
Yeah.
he's also selling that class.
What is the class? Hustlers University? What is that? What are they teaching people?
To hustle.
But what do they teach? Are they...
To hustle.
They can quit at any time they want.
It's like $70 a month, and you become a top G. That's literally.
I mean, is that bad? I don't know.
No, it's not bad. Hustlers University just teaches people how to make money online. I joined it only for a couple of months, just out of curiosity, because I've got a brick and mortar business and an online business. I thought to myself, okay, they teach about copywriting, advertising, affiliate marketing, crypto, stocks, and a few other things. I thought, let's see if any of this is good information. And to be fair, I've put a lot of money into mentorship. So in comparison to the stuff that I've learned, it's not really super great, but from a basic entry level standpoint to get you into these areas of making money online, it's quite good. So if you want to get into investing in crypto or stocks, affiliate marketing, drop shipping, Amazon FBA, all these online businesses, it's a really good place to start because it organizes it all for you in a pretty decent manner. People still go round now and say that he was running a pyramid scheme or multi-level marketing scheme. Absolute nonsense. And then even stuff like this, I pay $49 and become a top G. Andrew Tate never says anything like that. He just says, you need to escape the matrix. The only way to do it is to try and make money online, have a little bit of a side hustle, learn new skills, and that's all his program does. It's simple.
Also, another thing, like this matrix thing, which he has, which again, I am a firm believer based on my experience, like people are out to get you, they're out to get you. He also, if he committed these crimes, he's sort of brilliant, be like, they're coming for me in the next couple days because you know they're coming, and then your followers go, aha, he was right. It's like a self-fulfilling who knows?
Right.
But I will say he goes too far. Like, and yeah.
By the way, he's always been saying that they're going to come for him. He used to say that he'll be cancelled like well over a year ago. He's like, one day I'm going to get cancelled. It was bound to happen.
He's also a wild dude that lives in the world of kickboxing. And that is a wild group of people. I mean, you pay attention to like top flight kickboxers like the Badr Haris and I mean, there's some Melvin Manhoef. There's some wild fucking people.
Shaun Jones. I'm wild kickboxer. I'm crazy. You can't control me.
People in that world. That is a crazy world where there's not a lot of money and you're facing fucking straight up killers. And, you know, I mean, there's all sorts of different personalities in that world, but it's a different kind of human. They're just wild, masculine, very aggressive people, you know, and that's part of his shtick.
But he, if you want to use the word toxic masculinity, he's it.
The bad stuff that he said embodies that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like defending him a little bit. I feel like he's just sitting on the fence too much. I feel like Joe is the ultimate fence sitter sometimes. He's got to be careful he doesn't go through his second cancellation. So I get where he's coming from. I also don't mind the fact that I feel Dave is being a little bit more impartial than he was in his first podcast with Tate, but you never know. Some of it can just all be for show, can't it?
But you also hope that he's not accused of these things when it's just because of his bombastic personality and talking shit and getting all this attention, which he clearly has done. You got to wonder how much of it is sat. Like when you talked to Piers Morgan, that was a very interesting conversation because Piers confronted him on all these things, and he did a great job of explaining what he does and why he does it. And you know, it's like the guy went viral in a way that no one has. And so quickly. Yeah. In a while, we're like my 12-year-old and my 14-year-old were asking me about it.
Yeah. No, he was it.
Yeah. All over TikTok and all over everything. And if you just look at some of those little
part
clips,
in a weird way. If your 12-year-old and 14-year-old are hearing some of the outrage, like nobody wants.
Yeah.
As Tate has said in the past, the majority of the stuff on the internet is negative. I go on TikTok pretty much to just post my video for the day. And some of the stuff I see on there, first off, it's highly addictive. You just want to keep scrolling. I'll come across random stuff like women shaking the tiggies and the backsides and that. And it's just like, wow, if I've got a kid who's scrolling this app, they're going to see all sorts of mad stuff on here. So Tate having a little bit of a hot take every now and then and saying something a little bit controversial and then getting banned is a bit silly in comparison to some of the stuff that's online on these social media platforms.
I mean, they banned him from everything. They banned him from Facebook. The only thing he's still on is
Elon,
Twitter.
Elon brought him back.
Yeah, which, listen, I agree with. I think you should be able, I don't think banning people is the way. I think this exchange with Greta Thunberg is a perfect example of how to counteract that.
Yeah.
Like she just mocks him and then he gets arrested and she has the fucking tweet of the year making fun of his arrest and a fucking perfect one-liner. That's what happens when you don't recycle your pizza boxes.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's genius. That's why it's good that someone like that is on social media, because you get a chance for people to participate in the conversation.
Yeah, exactly how it used to be. If someone says something that you don't like, you either ignore it and move on, or you block them, or you engage back with it and give your side of the argument. Since when do we just go, oh, I don't like what he said, cancel him? That's not how society works. It's meant to be a democracy. This is where you get into the grey area of dictatorship. These social media platforms don't get the right to dictate what is hate speech or not. Really, there should be no such thing as hate speech. It's just speech. Otherwise, you have to then police what is defined as hate speech and not. And you want the government or social media platforms dictating what you can and can't say. Now, if you are worried about cyberbullying and stuff like that, this is one thing I would say to my kid if he was getting bullied online. I'd say, listen, son, or listen, daughter, block them, okay? Block them, move on, that's it. Oh, but dad, this and that. No, just block them. But there's 10 of them. Block all 10 of them. But they've made another profile, block that profile as well. That is exactly what the block button is for. That's it. It's a simple fix. But what people want to argue with is they go, oh, I shouldn't have to block these people. The social media companies should block them for me. No, stop being a big girl and just block them yourself. I'm glad Joe and Dave had this discussion. It seemed like they were both sitting on the fence a little bit. They're obviously just going to wait and see what the verdict is. If they come out now and say, oh, Tate is innocent, I think he's innocent, and then he's not, they're obviously going to look bad and they have big brands that they have to worry about. So I understand the fact they've got to sit on the fence a little bit. Whereas me, I don't care, and I'll just say, I think Tate is innocent. Free Top G Andrew Tate, free Top G Tristan Tate, and anyone else who's been arrested. I think the 2 girls have been arrested as well as assistants. So yeah, hope to get out. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check all the stuff in the description if you want to level up your life, your physique, build muscle naturally and become an absolute Top G physicality wise and overcome bad genetics. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers, so help me get there. See you on the next video.